ChatGPT said, Hatshepsut's life is one of the most remarkable in all of ancient history. Not because she ruled Egypt, many royal women held power in various forms, but because she became king in every sense of the word. She was born into the 18th Dynasty, around 1507 BCE, the daughter of Pharaoh Thutmose I and Queen Amun. As a royal daughter, she received an elite education, learned ritual duties, and accompanied her father in religious ceremonies, cultivating a confidence and familiarity with power that few women of her time could experience. From an early age, she moved comfortably in a world designed for male rulers and male gods, a world where she would eventually carve a place for herself at its highest peak. Hatshepsut married her half-brother, Thutmose II, a typical dynastic strategy meant to reinforce the legitimacy of the royal line. As queen consort, she adopted the important title of God's wife of Amun, allowing her to play a vital religious role in the cult of the chief deity of Thebes. When Thutmose II died young, his heir was not her son, but a child born to a lesser wife, Thutmose III. Hatshepsut assumed the position of regent, guiding the kingdom during the boy king's early years. In many societies, a regency might seem temporary and secondary. But in Egypt, this was a period of subtle yet powerful decision-making. Her authority grew with each decree she signed and each ritual she performed on the young king's behalf. Then came the moment that changed everything. After several years, Hatshepsut took on full royal power and declared herself pharaoh. She did not frame it as usurpation, but as destiny. She claimed that Amun himself had chosen her to reign. In official inscriptions, divine narratives described the god visiting her mother before her birth, promising that the child she carried would be a powerful king. Hatshepsut's reign became fused with theology, a political maneuver that strengthened her legitimacy and protected her status from critics who believed the throne should belong only to men. But claiming kingship required more than a proclamation. Egyptian kingship was deeply tied to visual symbolism, crowns, regalia, dress, and physical form. In statues and reliefs, Hatshepsut gradually transitioned from being depicted as a royal woman to appearing completely as a male king. She wore the false beard of pharaohs and the kilt of Horus's earthly representative. Her titles changed too. No longer merely great royal wife, she became His Majesty, the perfect goddess, and king of Upper and Lower Egypt. What made this transformation extraordinary was not the disguise itself, but the coexistence of her identity as a woman and her role as king. She blended both, ruling as a woman when it suited religious tradition and as a man when authority required it. Her reign was characterized by peace, prosperity, and architectural ambition. Where conquering pharaohs sought to define themselves by military victories, Hatshepsut showcased her power in stone and trade. She reopened long-dormant trade routes, the most famous being the expedition to Punt. Reliefs in her mortuary temple show exotic goods, incense trees carefully uprooted to be planted in Egyptian soil, gold, ebony, leopard skins, and rare animals. These images were more than a record of economic success. They communicated a message of cosmic order, suggesting that under her leadership, Egypt flourished and the gods rewarded her wisdom. Of the monumental works she commissioned, none rivals her temple at Deir el Bahri. Nestled against a dramatic cliff face on the west bank of the Nile, it stands as one of the greatest architectural achievements of ancient Egypt. Terraces stepped toward the mountain like a physical embodiment of the horizon itself. Colonnades, statues, and painted reliefs celebrated her divine birth, her relationship with Amun, and the prosperity she brought to the land. Each architectural decision reinforced her rightful claim to kingship and her eternal presence among the gods. Despite the stability of her reign, Hatshepsut was always aware that her authority rested upon delicate foundations. The ideology of kingship, although not impossible for a woman to claim, was uncomfortably stretched in her case. Her co-ruler, Thutmose III, was still the legitimate male heir, and although evidence suggests that their relationship was likely cooperative rather than antagonistic during her lifetime, the tension was inherent. When her reign ended after more than 2 decades, Thutmose III assumed complete rule. Years later, however, something unusual happened. Many of her images and inscriptions were altered or erased. Statues were smashed, her cartouches chiseled away, and her name removed from king lists. Scholars once interpreted this as vengeful retaliation by Thutmose III, but a more nuanced view is now widely accepted. The erasures began late in his life, long after any political rivalry would have mattered. The aim may have been to restore traditional succession, to make it appear that Thutmose II had been followed directly by Thutmose III. With the proper male lineage intact, Hatshepsut's kingship challenged norms so effectively that later rulers felt compelled to rewrite the past in order to preserve the ideology of male divine kingship. Ironically, the attempt to erase her only made her more compelling to modern eyes. Archaeologists and historians pieced together her story from fragments of statues, damaged inscriptions, and surviving monuments. What emerges is a portrait of a ruler who understood power deeply, its symbolism, its vulnerability, and its potential for renewal. She was neither a mere caretaker nor a rebel anarchist. She was a strategist who knew that Egypt needed stability and grandeur more than constant warfare. Her gender did not define her reign, yet it influenced every decision she made. She had to innovate in ways male rulers never considered. She used art, religion, and political theater to craft a new model of kingship, one that embraced female strength without rejecting the structures of male authority. She proved that leadership could flow from competence rather than convention. The prosperity Egypt enjoyed under her rule testifies to her capability and vision. Today, Hatshepsut stands as a symbol of resilience and ingenuity. She reminds us that history is not just a record of what was allowed, but also of what extraordinary individuals dared to attempt. Her story illuminates the gaps between custom and possibility, revealing a civilization flexible enough to be reimagined, but firm enough to resist that transformation for centuries afterward. She is a figure who refused to accept that greatness had a fixed shape. She carved her own, in stone and in legacy, leaving behind a testament to what it means to rule not by accident, but by purpose. In her lifetime, Hatshepsut commanded temples, palaces, and a global network of trade. In ours, she commands admiration. She challenges outdated assumptions about who can lead and how authority is defined. Though many tried to wipe her name from history, she emerged from the sands stronger than ever. A reminder that erasure is never truly complete. The king who was once a queen stepped outside the roles society assigned her and created a path so bold that even thousands of years later, we still marvel at her ambition, her talent, and her enduring legacy.